Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and this is another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I have got a best of one game. It is between DeMusliM, the red Terran player, in the lower left position. And he's up against MaSsan, the blue Zerg, in the top right. Now, I've been casting quite a few of MaSsan's games because he has been putting them up like a complete boss. So yeah, he's putting out some really good games. He's doing really well at the moment. So on his Twitter feed, he's trying to get into IPL as well because obviously he beat someone who later retired from StarCraft competitively. So the place is up for grabs. MaSsan's all like, can I get in there? And to be honest, I think he should because he has been playing really, really well recently. So we'll wait and see how that all plays out. But obviously, being a ZVT, what kind of openings can we expect? Well, from DeMusliM, almost going to guarantee we'll see either a command center first or a 1-Rax command center. From MaSsan, 15 hatch, 16 pool. It is just the way you do it. Daybreak is a nice map for this matchup. You've got lots of different attack paths. The third base is quite vulnerable to things like Hellions or small pushes. And I mean, one of the key things about this third base design is while this area is quite large, which you'd assume would favour the Terran, favour the Zerg rather. Once you put down a hatchery here, you get some nice little chokes, and those chokes can be awkward should pushes come in. It can also make defending the Hellions a little bit easier, and obviously the natural base has got quite a wide ramp as well, so can be a bit tough to try and get into, but we'll wait and see how they do go for it. I mean, DeMusliM's build almost certainly going to be catered towards the standard quick command center into reactor Hellions, then into a Banshee, and it is just so potent. On Daybreak, obviously, do have this space at the back of the main base, which makes it just so easy to deal with. And so, obviously, we should see MaSsan put up a good defense forward. Hopefully we will. Otherwise, this could be a very, very short-lived game. But obviously, this massive harassment style is really the Terran metagame against Zerg at the moment. It allows them to get up their key tech without really being under pressure. It allows them to do some good damage, potentially, as well, to the mineral line. It is more effective than pure Hellions on their own. And the one response you do sometimes see to this sort of build from Zerg is, I mean, I believe it was Stefano I saw do it the first time, is that it's getting so obvious the Terrans are taking this command center quickly that he actually went hatchery pull. Now, the reason that is an advantage is because obviously you then stay a base up on your opponent. It is ultra greedy, and unless you're really confident with how you're going to transition out of that, I wouldn't suggest it to your average player, but it does open up some good options because, of course, the reason so many Terrans have adopted this early command center is purely in response to Zerg getting a hatch first every single game. They're not going to be under threat, and it then puts them on level bases, which puts a lot of pressure on the Zerg to either take a third, which on pretty much every map is significantly harder to take, or it basically pigeonholes them into trying to do a 2-base play, neither of which things are that great for Zerg, and that's why we're seeing Terran really get quite strong, win quite a lot of games, and even if it does get into the late game, they're so much better prepared because they haven't had those early losses. Mech is a really common transition out of this playstyle, but as you can see here, DeMusliM is just like, no, command centers. Command centers are the way forward, guys. If I build them quicker than he can kill them, then I can't lose, and it is a really good strategy. But as we can see, we've got command center, it was a Rax, command center, double gas coming up now, so really just focusing on being really economical. And now MaSsan is in a position where he basically has to take his third base, otherwise he is going to get behind economically so far, because DeMusliM starting his own third before MaSsan started his. That is never a great spot to be in. The bunker coming in a very defensive position that covers the ramp, the mineral line, and also the entrance to your base. You're never going to be able to wall off, so that's why you should put this bunker slightly further back as to forward. There's nothing you're trying to hide scouting-wise either. Now, here comes down the factory. Looking at the overlord placements for MaSsan as well, they're really nice. The only perhaps overlord placement I'd like is one here, just to pick up on any drops, but that is precisely where this overlord is going. Damn these pro players, I always forget that they know this game a million times better than I do. And, well, taking a look around, we've got the reactor coming down now. MaSsan doing a great job. He's not taking any gas yet, so the third base should be coming up soon, to be honest. There's no really reason. Oh, as I say that, here comes the first 2 gas, getting them with the natural, just so if any scouts come in. Not sure whether it's 2 or 4 gas. Pretty standard play. Good little psychological trick to go for. Now, I am really starting to worry for MaSsan because he hasn't taken that third base, and that's going to really, really start hurting him. We've got the Starport coming down, so the transition into Banshees. Hellions and Banshees just so good. There's the switch. We've got all 3 orbital commands now. If we look at the worker count, well, once you factor in the 15 workers-ish that the mules count for, then they're at actually pretty similar incomes. The third base just getting started now by MaSsan, but is it going to be too late? We'll wait and see. For the moment, of course, a lot of queens are out. I like that. I think early game, every Zerg player should be going really quite heavily on queens. They're very, very good at both pushing back those Hellions, spreading creep, which is just such a useful tool. The anti-air defense against the Banshees is really bolstered by the queens. It really is the only early air defense with the exception of Spore Crawlers, so definite good move here. The transition out from DeMusliM, we're just getting more barracks being added on here, so it's going to be a much more standard tank, marine, medevac style play out of him, rather than the mech style, which quite a few of my more recent TvZ games have showcased. But looking here, the Queen's just doing a great job. They're pushing the Hellions back. They're still spreading the creep. I mean, the creep spread is really going to start progressing quickly now, just due to how many creep tumors are on the map. We do have Double Evo and the Roach one there, forming what is basically a complete wall off, the lair coming down as well. So the natural and main base completely safe from these Hellions. The only concern now will of course be the Banshee, but no cloak, so that means the Banshee will be slightly easier to deal with. I personally don't think I like not getting cloak. I think it is not quite as much of an investment. It allows you to put your gas elsewhere. As you can see here, DeMusliM getting the double upgrades, which are just getting so potent, but so is actually MaSsan getting those double upgrades out. So this is definitely both gearing up for a macro game. The first Banshee on its way over, not going to get picked up by anything apart from those roaches, which, to be honest, the Banshee might just engage those roaches because they're free pickings for it, and basically any units you get for free are good. These queens still going absolutely bonkers in terms of the creep spread. Has been delayed up outside of the natural, but to be honest, the third base has got so many creep tumors that should catch up fairly soon. We've got already Spore Crawlers coming down just in anticipation of what if there is cloak research, because of course MaSsan doesn't know that yet. He's getting his Spire up as well. He is just taking his 5th and 6th gas as well, so he's going to have very, very big Mutalisk pressure should he want to do that. No infestation pit yet, so it's not like a rush to Broodlords or anything like that, because, well, that would just be pretty sick and very, very vulnerable to attacks. Looking here, we've got a lot more barracks being added on. Of course, Stim really in the early days still of being researched there by DeMusliM, so we probably won't see Stim out for any while, and as a result, I doubt we'll see any pushes for quite a while. There'll be no reason to. You don't want to push until you've got Stim done. It's just such a critical upgrade. Now, looking at these Hellions, they are going to take big damage from the Roaches, but of course with the Banshee support there, the Roaches can't be too aggressive. A 4th base coming down there from MaSsan as well, but here's the important thing. DeMusliM now just floating down that orbital command to the 3rd. He's there, it's ready, he's expanding. Probably going to try and take his 4th relatively quickly. There's no reason not to. It depends really on his money, which he's spending incredibly well at the moment, and getting up quite a sizable force. MaSsan, his creep spread is not as good as I'd like it, considering he had so many early queens, and he hasn't had too many problems in denying it. It should really be coming out to about here and here point by now, in my opinion. So hopefully we'll see a bit more attention paid to that. Looking at the infestation pit timing, that is all good. The Baning Nest coming down, just a small little push, and this is actually a throwback to kind of MMM, Marine Mortar Medevac, which used to be hugely popular in TvZ. And kind of grew out of phase with many more players going Marine Tank, but it's becoming more and more favourable, especially currently, just due to how effective it is. Now, this is why getting so many creep tumors is great, because it takes more than one scan to kill all of your active creep tumors, which always is going to be incredibly frustrating for the Terran player. This 4th base just up now for MaSsan there. Looking there, he's got the +1 flyer attack on their way. At the moment, no Mutalisks or anything out. He's getting 2-2 melee upgrades as well. The 2-2 upgrades on their way out for DeMusliM as well. He's getting his first couple of tanks out now, just the first one in production. He's getting the +1 vehicle weapons as well, combat shield on its way down. Nice little mobile force. That's a real big advantage of getting the Marauders over the tanks. So much more mobile, and of course benefits from Stim as well. Now this is pretty much the best engagement angle DeMusliM could hope for. Right in the corner, the Medevac's healing up, the Banshee going to town as well. This will all get killed, apart from if a good lift goes off. But in terms of cost effectiveness, both players engaging very, very similar in how much resources they're losing. The first Mutas are on their way out, though those Medevacs are going to be now running into problems. Those couple of Zerglings are just staying underneath in case they do empty, and they will be able to pick off all the infantry there. But here comes a lot of Marines and Marauders now. This should all get cleaned up. Will a Mutalist die? Yes, 2 do, and you cannot afford to be losing those Mutas at this stage. Hive Tech is on its way down. Siege Mode on the way down for DeMusliM as well. DeMusliM really just getting ready to take his 4th base, floating it over there as we speak. Taking a look, 2-2 upgrades are nearing completion for both of these players now. Obviously, in terms of the work account, very, very similar That isn't ideal because obviously once you factor mules in, it does put the Terran ahead in terms of the income. And DeMusliM doing a great job of spending his money, getting lots of production facilities. And well, with missile charges down there, those mutas are not going to have any fun. We do have an overlord there generating some creep, which is always going to delay it. I believe it's something like a minute and a half if it completely generates all of it for it to recede, which can be crazy. The macro hatch up there for MaSsan. MaSsan could really look to start taking his 4th base at this point. He knows his opponent is taking a 4th. Therefore, he really needs 5th base rather. He really needs to start thinking about his 5th, and this is the logical 5th base expansion. He knows the creep spread is giving a good cover, which is great. Nice little movement of Zergling, Baneling, Roach there. That's all good. Where are the Mutalisks hanging out? That is what I want to know. They are somewhere down here, I have no doubt. But if I can see them, I am going absolutely blind. Where are they? Where are those mutas? Am I going absolutely crazy? I think I may be. DeMusliM coming and pushing through the middle. There are all the Mutalisks. They weren't cleaning up a drop, were they? I don't think they were. No workers have been killed. So, looking here, we do have a lot of... Well, this is a really nice push. The 2-tank push. Just so effective. And notice DeMusliM not overcommitting with his army here. Will deny that 5th base attempt by MaSsan, who doesn't get the cancel off. But here comes all of these Zerglings and Banelings. But unfortunately, there's a lot of infantry being held back here. But that could have cost DeMusliM this engagement for the moment. Spreading very nicely. The Banelings do get some good hits off. The Mutalisks as well coming in very quickly from all angles, doing good damage. MaSsan is going to be having a good engagement, but all of his ground forces have been taken out. And of course, the mutas alone are not going to engage head-on very well. With all of these missile turrets as well, it'll be very tough. The Great Aspire could swing things in his favour in order to get out those Broodlords fairly nice and quick. The 3-3 upgrades also on their way out. Importantly, though, Thors are in production. The +2 Terran vehicle upgrade, weapon upgrade, as well as the 3-3 infantry on its way down. So, to be honest, DeMusliM is really playing this like clockwork. He's got the supply advantage as well, which is never a good sign in a TvZ matchup for the Zerg player. And of course, now he's on 4 bases. He's equal bases with his opponent. And MaSsan, well, he's not looking good economically either. That's the problem. They're very similar in work accounts now. Looking here, just yet again, DeMusliM getting that 2-tank siege up. Leapfrogging forward, being very strategic, slow, systematical in his approach to engaging the Zerg, which is I think something a lot of Terran players can learn from. Don't be in a rush to lose. Being in a rush to lose is a very quick way to fall down the ladder rankings exceptionally quickly. Be focused on what you're doing. And here we go. We've got MaSsan coming in from behind with a big push. Unfortunately, the Banelings don't get that many hits. A lot of the Marines get split very nicely. 2 of the tanks die, but 1's still up. And with that move, DeMusliM should be fine. The Broodlords are morphing in though. Where are those Broodlords? They are not quite close enough yet. The Mutalisks coming in from behind. Hopefully going to be able to pick off the tank with the Thors there. If they do box up at all, they will take huge damage, just like we're seeing now. And just so many mutas dying. And to be honest, that is almost certainly going to be the GG right there. The Broodlords are in play, but I am not quite sure where they are. There they are. They're down to the 3rd base. But while they're cleaning up a bit, this push just got so much momentum. The hive is falling, and well, now the infestation pit and the Great Aspire are very exposed. While the Broodlords could come in without any support from the ground, those Marines are just going to eat through them. The 3-3 upgrades just clicking into effect now. Great stutter step micro, and there's the GG, well played from MaSsan. So great play by DeMusliM. MaSsan played really well as well, to be honest, but DeMusliM was just so systematic, strategic, and basically surgical in his execution of that build that it was absolutely beautiful to watch. So guys, if you did enjoy, please give the video a thumbs up, leave a cool comment, subscribe as well because I get new games up daily, and yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow for another new cast. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you did enjoy. Bye for now.